welcome back to my channel and my 1970s series. Now, in today's video, I really think this could work across the board. So whatever mold you're using, I'm using a round tray mold, but this would work perfectly in coasters, honestly, bookmarks, earrings, you name it. You could absolutely do this too in any mold you have. So the resin I'm using in today's video is the Apex. I am, of course, linking that below with your discount code. Not only is it crystal clear, they do a top coat resin as well, but they also ship worldwide. So absolute brilliance. In the description box down below if you are interested. Now, this is part A, part B, 1-to-1 epoxy resin, measurable by volume. So I have poured part A and B into my calibrated cup, and this is going to go into my Let's Resin mixing machine for the rest of the video. I'm not going to put, not the rest of the video, for the next 5-10 minutes, I'm not going to put it through my bubble removing machine because I don't need it to be crystal clear at this point. Now we're going with 3 basic 70s colours, yellow, brown, orange. These 3 colours scream 1970s. Now, honestly, in the early days of this project, I wasn't actually sure how I was going to finish the tray. I just knew I wanted to try this, and I figured that the idea would come. It would come at the end, but yeah. So we're going with the 3 colours only. Brown, yellow, orange. Again, you can add in cream. I really feel like I've missed a trick with cream, because cream is such a 70s colour scheme and I've barely used it. So I will definitely be using it in the next few videos. I'm so excited for this series. Honestly, when someone suggested they wanted to see Jesmonite and they wanted to see 70s, at first, I was like, oh, yeah, 70s. And then I was like, oh, my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough ideas. Like, will it just be one video? But honestly, I am truly inspired right now. And the ideas are flowing, which I love. When you get in a zone, when I get in a zone with a series or a particular season, I just love when ideas keep coming. And there's nothing worse than when I sit there with absolute block and I'm just like, what on earth am I doing? And I feel like when a series comes to an end, it's because I genuinely am over it. But I am definitely not over 70s. I'm really loving it. So back to the video. I mixed the resin for 5 minutes, poured it into 3 separate pots. Orange, brown, yellow mica powder we used. Now, I have used mica powder from a company that's no longer in operation. So any mica powder will do. Yellow, brown, orange. Standard 3 70s colours. Brown around the outside, followed by the orange, followed by the yellow. Now, my hope here is that, of course, they will blend. I'm pouring quite quickly, so they shouldn't have any sharp, distinct lines between them. Equally, I'm not too worried if they do, because what I'm putting on the tray at the end is going to disguise that. I don't like separation. I like blend. That's one thing I've definitely learned about myself over the last few years. But I'm just using every last drop of this resin, all of the dregs getting scraped out of those cups and into the tray. And this honestly is such an easy, beginner friendly. If you're only just starting out in resin, then this one is for you. And if you've been doing resin many years like I have, this one is also for you, because this is about as 70s flower power as it gets. Honestly, I was like, was flower power in the 60s? Because actually, I remember the 70s. I remember my decor. Well, I don't remember the 70s. I was born in 1977. But even in 1981, 82, 83, I still had brown and orange flowers on my bedroom wall. So that is what has inspired today's video. So 24 hours later, it's time to demold. My hope is that all 3 colours have blended smoothly and seamlessly. Sadly, they did and they didn't. You know, the yellow and the orange blended to perfection, but there's definitely this harsh brown line where the orange didn't quite mingle with the brown. Like, it mingled, but it didn't mingle, you know. So I wasn't altogether happy with where the brown meets the orange, but again, I knew I would be covering that up and I guess reducing the impact of the harsh line. Now, before I go any further, I do use my deburring tool to get rid of the sharp underbelly of the resin tray. Now we are ready to go. Now it was at this point I have to say thank you to my patrons, because I have ordered, well, I've been sent actually some absolutely stunning 70s UVDTF patterns, and I wasn't sure which direction to go in. The original plan was this was the original plan. So as soon as I received these stunning UVDTFs in the post, I went straight to my patrons. I was like, guys, what would I do? What would you do? Like, would you stick to the original plan of making 1970s flowers on the Cricut, or use the UVDTFs? And majority, I mean, they all said stick to the original plan, Claire, and do a separate video for the UVDTFs. So thank you, patrons, because you keep me on track. And honestly, I don't know what I'd do without you, because it's like I have got like 60 advisors and friends to tell me what not to do and to tell me what to do. So you can see here, I'm the Cricut, you can just see here the yellow vinyl, right? I'd already used it to do the other design, and I didn't realize I'd already used the vinyl. So you can just see here there's a bit of a mishap, but it's easily fixed with a bit of vinyl, with my blade, my craft blade, and just cutting off a bit of vinyl that doesn't need to be in my flowers. That was the situation there. But this design is on the Cricut design space. If you have a Cricut or any design space, Creative Fabrica, whatever you're using, just type in 1970s flowers. This design comes up. But this is an easier design to layer up and put together and assemble than the last design you saw on the tray that said made in the 70s, where I had to line everything up and it was really, really hard. I actually did it off camera. But these ones are so much easier. Now, again, I'm using 70s colored vinyl, and I'm following the colors that the Cricut actually has on the image, right? But again, you can change this to whatever colors you want. Like if you were doing 60s, you could just do black, white, black, white, black, white, whatever colors were popular in the 60s. I only really know of, you know, Twiggy and black and white, to be honest. So these are really easy to assemble. Like I said, you literally pick up the smaller dot, then you transfer that onto the next flower, then you transfer that onto the next flower, and then you transfer it onto the bigger flower. This is one single file. So I didn't personally individually place all of these flowers down on a design. It's a file. So as soon as I typed in 70s flowers designs, this whole file came up. It was a page of flowers. They're all designated in their spaces with their dots. So this dot belonged to that, you know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. So as I go through, there are smaller ones and bigger ones, just making sure that they're all lining up and I'm getting them right. Honestly, transfer tape. Peeling back the transfer tape was the hardest part of this entire project. You can see some of these dots are extra small, so I'm just making sure that it's going onto its corresponding flower. And there was a couple of areas where I did get a little bit fiddly. I did accidentally mess up on one as well. I went from the brown straight to the yellow, and it was meant to be orange. So I did dump one of the flowers out. And I'm not going to drag you through all of this because it was so time consuming, hence why the video is sped up. And also it's quite forgiving, right? If you line it up, you do it to your best ability. Some of them aren't lined up to perfection. Guys, at this point, I do need to let you know that I am working downstairs in my living room on my dining room table, which has been absolutely trashed by myself because it is a second-hand table, and honestly I need to sand the whole thing down. But anyway, here we are. All the flowers are done, and they are giving my bedroom wallpaper when I was 5. I tell you now, if you guys were around in the 70s or 80s and you had this kind of brown, orange, cream-ish pattern on your bedroom wall, let me know in the comment section down below. So yeah, just please ignore the state of the dining room table. I've just painted my entire living room. If you guys did not know, I have a second channel. It is called At Home with Claire, and I have just painted my living room, and guys, it wiped me clean out. I was using the dining table to store everything on it, and honestly, I just know I've still got to sand it down, so I wasn't too fussed about trashing it. That's why it looks trashed. I don't eat my food off of it. Honestly, I'm a lap eater, which is really shocking and terrible. But anyway, hello, back to the video. So using the transfer tape to individually transfer every flower. Now, here's the thing on this one. I didn't want to... All of these flowers were completely different sizes. And again, that was part of the file on Cricut. I didn't do that. That was part of the file. So what I didn't want to do was make this tray symmetrical. I didn't want to make it look organized. I wanted it to be as chaotic as I remember the wallpaper from the 70s being. So again, I'm just honestly, hand on heart, I'm throwing them down wherever they lay. I don't want, obviously, massive gaps and inconsistency. I want consistency when it comes to the gaps between them, but where each flower goes, I did not care. I just wanted them to look chaotic and random. Now, a couple of them I did just put off to the side, so I'm just using my craft blade to run it around the inside lip, the inside edge, to cut off any excess. Really easy to do. And honestly, I already feel so flower power. Now, here's a question for you. I followed the colours. The Cricut file for these flowers had these exact colours. Yellow on the outside, followed by orange, brown and cream dots for the centre. I followed it. But it was only really after laying all the flowers down, and I guess my tray does have a lot of yellow and orange, and I was thinking, I feel personally like maybe they would have been better with the brown outer, but then it wouldn't have worked because the outside of my tray is brown. So could I have made a multitude of different colorways? Yes. I like this colorways. I just feel like, especially in the center of the tray where it's really yellow, they would have benefited from having a brown outer flower. But let me know your thoughts, because the yellow against the brown outside edge of the tray really, really works and it really pops. Secondly, my brain was like, honestly, it's giving sunflower vibes. It's giving more sunflower vibes than 70s. But I had to kind of like take a step back and just look at it and be like, no, it is 70s, Claire. It really and truly is 70s. It's just also, it's a little bit sunflowery, you know? I think if that center dot was brown and then we worked out from there, it would have been an absolute sunflower scheme, even though it's not the same size as a sunflower. Now, we're back up on the top floor. We're back in the craft room. Of course, that is where I do my resin. I wouldn't ever do my resin downstairs in the living room. I've got two choices here. I can either use the Apex Cure Pro top coat, or I can use the Apex Resin Standard Epoxy Resin for coasters and trays. Now, I'm using the standard epoxy resin for coasters and trays because I am filming a lot of videos on this particular day, and I knew that I needed a lot of resin to move on to the next project. So I figured instead of just using a small amount of the resin top coat, I would just kill two birds with one stone and just make a big batch of resin, use it in this tray, and then I will be using it in the future videos that you will see. The next 3, I've got at least 3 videos filmed after this one for 70s, and I can't tell you how inspired I feel. Like I've already said in previous live chats, I'm moving on to 80s next, but I don't know when that's going to be. I might do a little bit of 60s, but honestly, I'm not a 60s girl, so I would have to Google. I've got no memories, obviously. This is all kind of like nostalgic memory for me, whereas 60s, I've got absolutely no first-hand experience of the 60s. So if you were to do the 60s, let me know what you would do. All I can think of when I think of 60s is Austin Powers, like groovy. That's terrible, isn't it? But yeah, this is the tray. We are using a heat gun to eliminate any potential air bubbles from that surface, and honestly, I love her. Could you put some Cricut vinyl over the top of this that says 70s baby or groovy? Yeah, I always associate groovy with the 60s. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, because to me, groovy baby, maybe that is 70s. Maybe Austin Powers is 70s. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm getting a little bit mixed up with the decades. Now, this is what we're looking like on this. Unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a fisheye. That might be because it was simply so hot in my craft room. I had the radiator on as well, and it was like 21 degrees this day. Just see it there where that light is hitting. See it right there? It's a dimple. It's a fisheye. Now that can happen because either A, I've used too much heat, or B, there's just too much heat in the room. Now I did cover this up, as you saw, with the microwave lid cover. So it might just be that the fact that it was cooking inside that microwave lid, as well as the room being hot, as well as my radiator being hot, it was probably just too hot. And I have got a little bit of a dimple. Genuinely, hand on heart, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It's not a huge fisheye, and I don't think it's going to take away. It's not going to diminish. I will still be able to sell this piece. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you feel inspired. Thank you so much to my patrons who said, Claire, get on your Cricut and make those flowers, because you guys made the right decision. And I've already started pouring another tray for these UVDTFs, guys. If you do not follow me on Patreon, I hope you are excited to see these UVDTFs, because guys, turn that notification on. They are the most beautiful 1970s ever, and I cannot wait to use them. I hope you feel inspired from something in this video, and I will see you all for the next 70s video very, very soon. Well, next week. Bye.